Thank you and good morning. We've heard from about two comprehensive regional economic efforts. What I'd like to do is, and I'm excited to share with you, a new project that our region believes can fundamentally change the way new energy efficiency technologies reach the marketplace. But let me begin with a little background about our region. The Puget Sound Metropolitan region is a 4-county area in America's Pacific Northwest and has become a global trade and economic hub. Our success is based on many factors. For example, our geographic advantage of being one of the closest ports to Asia. Also, we're blessed with an innovative entrepreneurial workforce that has and continues to pioneer a host of today's most essential products and services. Consider that businesses in the Puget Sound region have shrunk the world through aerospace innovation, transformed the personal computer from a hobby into an indispensable productivity tool, succeeded with new and dominant retail platforms such as Costco and Amazon, and created cultural icons that have spread around the world. Now, Ricky may have the corner on the slow food movement in Seattle in the Puget Sound region. We've got the corner on the caffeinated double latte movement. But innovation never stops, and our message today is how we are poised to create a new wave of technology and market leadership that will help our economy thrive in the coming decades. Our work is about intentionality, actively and strategically leveraging our past successes and building on our assets to ensure long-term prosperity in an increasingly competitive global economy. 5 years ago, the Puget Sound region launched what we know as the Prosperity Partnership, a multi-county public-private economic development effort that creates and implements a shared regional economic strategy. The Prosperity Partnership is guided by great leaders, such as the presidents of the University of Washington and Washington State University, president of Boeing Commercial Airplanes, and the General Counsel of Microsoft. Local governments, small and minority businesses, and the not-for-profit sectors are also partners in this effort. As we now begin to develop our region's economic plan for the next 5 years, the Metropolitan Business Plan process is a logical expansion of this work. For us, using the discipline of business planning to guide our economic strategies allows us to first identify our strengths, then make catalyzing investments to capitalize on those opportunities. As I mentioned, we have many strengths to build on. We are one of the nation's centers for innovation. We rank 9th in patent activity out of the 100 largest U.S. metro areas. Our large technology business base attracts well-educated, productive workforce, which ranks 9th in average wages per job, 11th in GDP per job, and in college attainment. The Puget Sound region draws talented people from all over the world, half of whom have college degrees when they arrive. And while we certainly have our share of infrastructure and regulatory issues, the region's business climate is conducive to the starting and nurturing of new business. That said, we know we can't rely on past performance to achieve future growth. That strategic intentionality compels us to identify strategies that will remove market barriers, capitalize on new drivers of job creation, and move the region forward as our economy evolves. As our region focuses on many diverse industry clusters, we know that we must also continue to protect the base and nurture our strengths while growing these new clusters. You'll notice that clean technology is one of our focused areas. I'm sure it probably is for each and every one of you. Knowing this, we decided to dive deeper to identify a specific market niche that we might develop, where we might develop a competitive advantage. Where we found our greatest opportunity is in the energy efficiency of buildings. As a major job creation opportunity, we're attracted by the sheer size of this market. Consider that 2/3 of the built environment, homes, businesses, institutions, that will exist in the year 2050 exist today, and most of these are not very energy efficient. The United States alone has tens of millions of buildings that have poor energy performance, but are otherwise in good condition. A few may be replaced in the coming decades. but the rest will need energy retrofits. Hundreds of billions of dollars will be spent on building energy efficiency work in the U.S. and around the world, and that doesn't include investments made in new buildings, especially in fast-growing developing countries. It's important to note that this is a different way of thinking about energy efficiency, that being as a cluster growth opportunity. Traditionally, we think of energy efficiency from the demand side. How can we use less energy? Instead, we're looking at it from a supply side. How can we provide goods and services that the rest of the country and the world will buy to become more energy efficient? It's a great focus for our region because it's already an area where we have experience and strength. Of approximately 20,000 people working in clean tech in our region, over 9,000 work in the energy efficiency field, from architectural, construction, and engineering services to high technology applications that are using software and automation technology to control building energy use. In particular, this is attractive to us because of its overlays with our existing strengths in software and IT. Mixing the market opportunity with these assets, we believe that the Puget Sound can be a center for development of new technologies, designs, and systems that will drive building energy efficiency in the coming decades. When we talk about this effort, we say that a business plan must answer three questions. What do you have to sell? Who wants to buy it? And what kind of investment do you need to be successful in connecting the two? Having answered the first two, we looked for that catalyzing investment that we could make as a region that would allow us to realize this vision of building energy efficiency growth. What we identified was a major gap in the path to market for these technologies. First, buildings are complex systems that exist in a world of varying climates and uses. They're also inhabited and operated by real people who don't follow instructions all the time. So introducing new technology brings an uncertainty of just how effective it will be. This is the performance verification problem. Second, components used in buildings are often created in isolation. So introducing new technologies to existing systems has uncertain results, as does combining new technologies. This is the technology integration problem. Both of these problems come down to money. Energy efficiency investments are expected to pay for themselves. But if we can't predict performance outcomes, how can we project a return on investment that looks attractive to building owners and investors? After analyzing these barriers, we developed our proposal, a way to test new energy efficiency technologies and verify the results, thus clearing the way to market adoption. We call this new project BETI, or the Building Energy Efficiency Testing and Integration Center and Demonstration Network. Now you know why we call it BETI. BETI will be two things. First, it will be a building with controlled testing laboratory and a hub for networking and technology development between entrepreneurs, scientists, engineers, investors, and customers. Second, it will be an extensive network of real-world buildings under contract to be used for field testing of technologies that have proven successful in the laboratory. The network will include offices, homes, factories, schools, and military bases. The field test sites will have real people doing real things and interacting with these technologies in ways that they won't face when they're launched into the marketplace. This network will extend throughout the varied climates of Washington State. Yes, there are other places where it doesn't rain. We have deserts, snow-capped mountains, and rainforests. The advantages to the building owners will be that they get free energy efficiency upgrades to their buildings. We believe companies will pay for access to this demonstration network because it will provide them with a reference customer that will allow them to go out and sell their product based on proven effectiveness in their real life. One of the things that excites us about this idea is the broad range of stakeholders we can engage through this effort. Certainly, as a self-sustaining enterprise, BETI will be focused on its customers, those entrepreneurs and large companies alike who will want to pay to use BETI's services. But there are a whole host of others who will benefit from BETI launched products, from real estate developers to utilities, venture capitalists and research universities, that we believe will want to partner with and support and even invest in BETI and its work. Of course, federal and state governments and even philanthropies are seen as potential investors as well. Now, to get an idea of how Betty will work, picture a small technology firm that has a prototype for a new heating control device. They would come to Betty to test their prototype for functionality in the laboratory and for connectivity with various heating systems in the larger test space. They would then refine the prototype based on the test results and feedback and install the improved prototype in several commercial buildings in the Betty network and monitor its effectiveness through the winter heating season. This process will provide them with critical data to further refine their product and promote it to investors and distributors. Meanwhile, being around Betty, they would have met other entrepreneurs, researchers, venture capitalists, and engineers who can help them build and strengthen their business model. Now, we aren't naive. We know Betty is an ambitious product. It will take substantial upfront investment from public and private sources and will require operating subsidies until it arrives at a self-sustaining model in 5 years. But as Betty drives investments that create companies and jobs, expands state exports and positions, the Puget Sound region is a world leader. We believe it will position us as a world leader in energy efficiency, and we know it will be worth the effort. But but we're also confident that as new investment dollars and talents are drawn to the region, because Betty will have far-reaching impacts beyond this one cluster. Since we know it that in today's dynamic economy, there's constant crossover and interaction between sectors. We are confident Betty will attract sufficient investment because it has such a clear business proposition and measurable return on investment to a wide variety of stakeholders. For example, Betty can help federal and state government agencies attain their goals of economic development and energy efficiency. Right now, the U.S. military is making significant investments in energy efficiency and cost and security measures. We believe Betty can play a vital role in verifying and commercializing those technologies and help them meet their goals. As the energy efficiency market grows globally, we believe it can also help drive expanding U.S. exports. We recognize we face challenges. One of the most interesting will be that Betty crosses multiple objectives, whereas many federal programs and private investors invest only in one issue, whether it be clean technology, workforce development, or exports promotion. We need to be able to persuade these investors that something beyond their individual efforts and that there's impact beyond just that focus and it's worth funding. In fact, we believe that this can help the Brookings Institute cross those bounds and help them at a state and federal level as well. Overall, the Puget Sound region is very optimistic and bullish about the prospects for Betty and its potential to make the building energy efficiency a driver of job creation for our region. Not only will it increase prosperity, but we will do it while reducing carbon emissions, lowering utility bills for businesses and households. We look forward to making Betty a reality, and we invite you to join us in this exciting endeavor. Thank you.